Alright guys, hey, what's up? Welcome to another Come Draw With Me live session straight out of quarantine. This is not as fun as probably might have you think, but we're gonna make the best out of it. I'm super pumped that you are here, that we're gonna have some time together. I'm not hearing any audio on my end somehow, so I'm gonna take this earpod out. You all should hear some music, I hope you do. And really excited. So if you are joining it from anywhere, let me know in the comments below. Be a really nice host here, like make people feel welcome. We're having the social distance here together. So out of my studio, I live right next door. This is why I can be in the studio. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't travel that far anymore to go somewhere. And I understand that you guys are at home. And hopefully that you use that time to be extremely creative. To be honest though, I haven't been as creative. I have been slacking yesterday. I didn't sleep so well, but hey, we're here now. And this helps me, this setup helps me to actually really be creative. So this is what we're gonna do. We're going to do twisted words. Somebody on my Instagram asked me in the story, I asked you guys, what should we do, paper or iPad? You guys said paper. And then I asked about like, what should we do on paper? And somebody asked this really great question. Let's do twisted words. I love twisted words. And so this is twisted words right here. This is what we're gonna do, how to twist those words. And this is kind of what we're at middle step in this process of how we're gonna do this. So you guys, I'm really excited that you are here. I hope that you brought everything with you. And guys, go crazy in the comments. Don't forget to like this video and to hit subscribe if you haven't already. I would love to bring more live streams during this week to guys to really use that time, use that energy, and to make something amazing. So, Mikhail is here from Greece, quarantined in Brazil. Wow. If you're from Greece, in Brazil, man, there's a whole story right there. And who else we have? We have got Luca as well from Brazil. We've got Kenta from the land of the rising sun, which, is that China? Kenta? No, I don't know. Somewhere around there. Bulgaria, India, we got India all over again. Excited to learn something new from Romil. You guys, Singapore, Schaffhausen. We got people from Switzerland. You know, Heidi, you know exactly what's going on here. So let me jump over to the top-down version here. Boom, this is where we at. I see this is super bright. Maybe I need to get out. How can I fix this? I have no idea how I can fix this, except maybe put on a piece of paper over here to kind of like reduce. That could work. That could actually work. I gotta be a little bit creative here, guys. Just bear with me on this one. I don't know how to fix this in the best possible way. Okay, this holds. There's a piece of paper somewhere. Alright. Okay, guys. So before we start, let's go grab a brand new piece of paper. We're gonna put this down here, around there, right? And yeah, it's a really interesting times, and we are gonna make something. So I hope you guys brought your pen, and paper, and that you are ready to rock and to make something awesome. People from Vienna, India, Indonesia, excited to learn something. Megana, thank you so much. Let's do this. All right, twisted letters. It looks really easy if you do them. Kind of like having a word that you kind of like twist around. So the best way to think about that is to actually like take a piece of paper, and then if you twist this around, like this is actually not that easy, so I'm gonna take another piece of paper, something back here, and maybe we can visualize that even better. And see, imagine you can twist around this piece of paper. So here it starts to bend. That's not necessarily what I want, but the more you bend it, it goes over. What happens is, and this is my thought process behind the whole thing here, is if we visualize like these are straight letters right there. Oh man, my distance is terrible. Spacing here. But that doesn't matter. It's more for you guys to understand what I mean is when you start to twist this around, the more flexible this gets, like all these lines start to bend and shape. Maybe this way could be actually helpful. You see how these all bend? And they all start to bend more and more the further apart they are. And so what my idea is that if you have a word on a straight line, so let's see, let me take back this pencil here. So this is not sharpened. Do I have another one that is sharpened? Yes, this one. All right, so let's draw a straight line. And I'm explaining you this first so you guys can copy that on your own in a second. So imagine you have all these straight lines. So this would be, if this was on paper, those are the straight lines. So in the middle, the more I bend this, like the middle one would usually be straight somehow. Does that make sense? So if you have that, it will bend upwards. So that means that every other part will start to bend increasingly. So I will have this. These are the distances. I'll try to keep them as consistent as possible. And so all of these will start. Now I can probably bring this down again a little bit. Not that much. Okay. They will start to bend on a increasingly longer axis, kind of like this, right? And so these straight lines, they will start to go in this direction. This will go that up. They won't change their length. Maybe in three-dimensional, as it goes back, like the one part will come closer, but usually you can just bend it a little bit. So I would want to kind of have them all twist around and twist around here. So kind of have this. And so I'm gonna be connecting these here and doing this here. And so this way, the other way around, what will happen is it's gonna do the same thing in the other way. Kind of like that here. And so here I'm also just gonna angle these always increasingly straighter towards the drawing, towards the middle part where this one is straight, this one will be bent a little bit, always bent a little bit more and more and more. Now this is kind of creating us a grid that will help us draw it increasingly better. Now you can add your 3D if you want to, you don't have to, but it's helpful to do so. And so for example, I can add, like, normally a 3D angle would be straight like that. In this case, what I want to do is to make it straight backwards. So this will bend with it as well, all the way to the end. Same thing here, pretty much straight. And the further it bends, it will just turn around. And so here I can connect these all again, and we'll try to connect these towards the middle. And so now, without actually doing too much here, if I erase these, this gives me a cool form. Now, as we saw that with the bend, these elements kind of like, it bends a little bit, so it gets a little bit rounder. So we could take account of that and make it a little bit rounder as well. And then use that in our shapes that we draw. Kind of like this, right? So now it has this volume, it has this form and shape. Perfect. So the middle here, this is kind of where everything gets hidden in the back. So what I want to do is to kind of like, don't start the curve, the 3D curve too early. So I want to make it go from the back here as well, and to turn that around. If you have any questions, please let me know in the comments below if there's anything you don't understand, if you're not sure about. I see that people are stopping typing stuff in, probably listening to the whole conversation. I hope so too. Let me know just in the comments if there's anything that I can dive in deeper onto and explain that a little bit more. Coffee is always good. Okay, so here we have it. This is kind of the shape that we're building. So the reason why I use grids all the time, the reason why I created the grid builder in the first place was mostly because we always start kind of with a grid. We want to place the letter in. These lines help us to know exactly how to draw those letters. Then Nitsa is asking, when should we start copying? Well, you can start copying in a second when we start drawing, but this is basically the idea that we have. So you now know kind of like this shaping, this turning around, how this kind of works, or how this affects your letters. Now, this is where it gets really interesting. So in my mind, I kind of know kind of how the shape will go. So I would usually draw something kind of like this. So this is where it goes up, and this is where it kind of like turns around. So there's this twist here, and I kind of want to maybe, do it something like this. And then here is kind of like where the middle is, right? So when I sketch it out, this is kind of where I start. Now, I know that all these will bend a little bit further out, and these one will also start to bend a little further out, kind of like that, right? And then this will kind of like go back, and here it will go behind the middle back here, and behind the middle back here. So this is where the 3D will happen, and here the back of the 3D. Now I can place any word inside here however I want. So somebody is asking about my favorite coffee, lattes and cappuccinos. Beans, depends on where they're from, how they're roasted. There are so many different variables. So let's see. What word should I put in? I'm going back to one of my Patreons, a new Patreon who just joined me as not too long ago. Let's see. If you haven't already started going on to Patreon, this is my Patreon. I can see all of them on here. So I have Bettina, who is one of my patrons. She joined just for $1 and is helping out here. So let's see, Bettina has how many? 7 letters. So I know that the middle will be there. So Bettina here. So here T will be in the middle. So this will be here. And so I can use kind of like to draw the T here, the second, then comes the I, the N, and finally the A over here, and then we have the other T, E. And what you want to be doing in the second part is to really kind of follow those lines as much as you can. Now I can spread my letters out a little bit more, have more space. For example, with the E, I could spread it out a little bit more. And you see, sketching, this is what happens in sketching. It looks a little bit messy. That's okay. And here is what I will add. And so in this direction, again, perpendicular. If you haven't checked out the 3D lettering video that I did last week on Thursday, you can check that out over there. Of course, you'll learn a lot about 3D letters and how we do that 3D, but for the twist, it's really important or helpful to do that. So, this is the theory, this is how we get there, and this is how we twist a word. Did that make sense? So a little bit bent here, a little bit bent there, and we can twist the word around. So now for the drawing part. Now this is where you guys come in and where you can start to draw that too. So again, just to recap the twist version and how that works. First, with the basis of a word being straight, turning and twisting it will make that all these lines will start to turn and twist around, which is why we have these equally distanced places here, and then we start to twist these little dots around more and more and more towards the maximum end. And then we actually start to place these inside here, and if I use my iPad as as a screen behind here, maybe I have to just give my face and then open a blank. Turn on the full, yeah, that kind of works. Does it? Actually, not really. So this exactly on top of it would actually do the trick. Maybe if I use my cell phone, that could work. Let's see. There we go. That doesn't really do the trick. Does it? No. Ha! I'm struggling out right. Okay, so it doesn't work that well, but just to give you the idea, this is how I do it. So let's start drawing and let's get creative. I hope the music is running in the background, that you guys are enjoying the really chill vibes. And what I wanted to be doing for the first part is get like the lightest pencil that I have. Light is in the idea of a H letter, which I do not have anywhere here. I have an HB. This might work. Or here I have an F. I'm not sure. If you don't know the hardness of your pencil, the best way to track it actually is to just draw and then compare it to someone else. Like this is a 2B. So you see a F draws a little bit. Maybe the, let's see what else do we have. We have a 6B. We had a 6B. But you can see the harder the pencil gets, so B's are hard, and the higher the number, the darker it will get. And the lighter or the harder the strength of the carbon is, the less it will emit. And so get a sharp pencil, sharpen your pencil, get something very light. Even if you have something coloring pen, a blue color is also really great and helps so too. All right, so I'm gonna use Bettina again to draw, and so I'm gonna start with like the straight line. This is where the line will be through, and I know that kind of like I want, maybe let's see if I can turn this around. So I'm gonna insert a wave here because kind of the twist has this wavy look, and I'm gonna add this on top here, kind of like duplicate it. And what I'm gonna do here as well is just to make that turn around, and so it will end kind of like this, and it will end up here as well, like this there. Okay, so now that we have this shape, and so this shape here, this side here of the shape, should be pretty much the exact same shape style than the other side, if that makes sense. So if you would flip that around, you would probably get the exact same shape on this side. Perfect. So the next step is to add like the 3D. So just get those dimensions right. And like I said, we want to have it go behind the first letter over here. And so to do that, I'm gonna just have it go even further in here and then twist back here. And the twist really gets strong because you have the 3D elements in it that will go before and behind it. Now I have the word Bettina, so Bettina has 7 letters as we saw it before. So I'm gonna try to divide those letters in here, and then same over here. And so all I want is pretty much to have a similar distance between letters. I know that there's an I as well inside here, so I'm gonna just flip around a little bit and connect these. Hopefully I was right. So if you have like a different length of letters, you can always kind of like correct that. Next part is to draw in the letters inside these here. So I use kind of when I'm drawing on paper, I use kind of the letter builder that I have created myself, or like the shape. I use that in here. And and I kind of like combine that. If you're using your iPad for this exercise, for the Draw With Me session, then absolutely get the letter builder, try it out, see how you can make it work. So you see I can kind of fit in this letter inside here, and so to divide this into these pieces actually is really helpful. I'll even start to connect these two together here, kind of, maybe not on the top, but here at the bottom. Could look fun to have them connect. Then we have two T's that will come together there, Bettina. And another one over here. We're gonna make it a little bit shorter. Trying to keep the sizes of those letters consistent, and like this, and then finally the A, which will actually go up a little bit higher, and then I'll kind of like see where this will connect, kind of like this. Now when you have that, you don't need to leave it at this style. You can actually go crazy with the style. Like I can make this a whole different lettering style, like a more westernized font if I wanted to. It just helps to kind of have this out right here, and you can move that around. You know what, because my mantra is always to add one more step, always to try something new, this is what I'm gonna do, is to add like a new style and to see if I can make this stand out even a little bit more than usual. So in this case, you could add a serif style font or sans serif, anything you feel like is working best for you, go with that. All right, now that I have that done, what I'm gonna use is this felt marker to draw those lines, those outlines precisely, that I can actually start finish this piece. So Donna is asking, how do you handle the thickness of the middle letters? I try to, like, they are less distorted, but I try to keep them as the same thickness as the others. Like these ones here will be distorted, they would be stretched. So I try to keep them pretty much the same. In the middle, this one actually looks a little bit thicker, so I'm gonna adjust that a little bit, but I'm gonna do that now when I'm finalizing this. know what? I'm not feeling this style right now. I'm just not, like, it's cool and so, but it's not really what I want to. Like, you'd end this here, you'd give those some dimension and so on, but I'm not really enjoying this as much. And since I want to be enjoying what I draw and finish that as well, I don't have to commit all the time to really finish everything that I start, which is why I'm actually just gonna start over and try that again with another part. Let's see. Maybe I'm just too harsh on myself, but so Dana is asking more about the depth. How do you do the thickness of the middle letters with the depth? So in the middle, everything will be kind of like going back to the middle inside, in sense of like the 3D lettering will be right behind it. So it'd be straight in the back. So you wouldn't really see that. All right, I'm just gonna redo that quickly. Now that we've done that, we know kind of like the shape that we want. Here. So this middle line actually isn't as middle. It will just kind of like follow the lines here. So again, just setting down these lines. Not always going the way I wanted. Hey Chris Souza, welcome to the live stream. Glad you joined in. I am struggling with doing this, but you guys probably are crushing it as well as I know. But I feel like this is actually working a lot better this time. Okay, so now drawing these lines here. right, that's the first part. So you see those letters all like kind of start to transform and just to expand and all that. Hey Toon Journal, thank you for joining in. I hope that you are not scared. There's no reason to panic right now. We are taking great measures everywhere around the world to be careful, to be safe. And so following what the government says is helpful in the way to prevent that. So we should be spreading hope. This time will come over and we'll be back to normal. It's just gonna take a little bit of time. And in the meantime, we're just gonna create amazing stuff with everyone here present, right? All right, as you can see, I'm just like trying to get these lines back together. So this will be in the background here. Whoops, that was too far. So now the last part will be to color it in. For that, I'm gonna use a pen, like more of a subtle pen. What do I have here to do that? No, that is blue. That is definitely not a brush pen. I'm using a brush pen because it's easier to fill it in faster. All right. So whenever you're drawing, like filling in something, starting out with the corners, the parts that are hard to reach, just to make sure that you can go fast in a second. Like these corners here. Those are a little bit more harder to reach. So just going in and just like filling it out now should be pretty easy. Ooh, it would be a great idea if the pen here didn't lose so much ink so fast. Probably been out in the sun too long. Let's see if this one works better. Voila! Voila means there we go in French. So we're also learning French now. So how do you tag people in the chat? You can just add the @ sign and then use someone. And awesome, we have so many good questions. Let me just check over here. Pretty awesome. 200 viewers. Absolutely insane. I've never had these numbers, guys. You guys have way too much time on your hand, but I hope that you're drawing something. Now, after a while, when this has dried up a little bit, you can start erasing those pencil lines to get like a really, really nice view. That way you can erase all of this. Now, of course, this is a lot of fun to do just on your own, or just to add that as a own drawing, like twisted, like to do coronavirus, twisted. I'm not supposed to say that word too many times because maybe YouTube will demonetize this, and I hope they won't, because of those few dollars that I make from this video, maybe. So, at the end here, what you can do is also just like start drawing in maybe something more, like adding, imagine these were kind of like those light bulb letters. I don't know. I actually have no idea what I'm doing. I always come into this thing, this moment where I try out like, what happens if I do this? Could I create something cool? I don't know. Let's find out. Something like this here. Probably using something more darker than that one. The good thing here is I can always erase it because it's in pencil. That kind of looks cool. Because now this part here, like, you know where the shadow drops in? On the other part, it will go out. So it will be here. So the easiest way when you've done this, which is already hard enough, don't get me wrong, every part where the black part is, it's the opposite side. So in here, it would be kind of like this here. And here. Doesn't look too bad. Now what I want to do to make it really stand out a little bit better. Just adding some harder lines here. So in case it looks like I know exactly what I'm doing, I totally don't. This is always so funny. I'm still confused how to make a shadow like that. So imagine that this is not really a shadow. So this is kind of like a metal piece. I'm trying to think of. Imagine this is a... How could I explain that? So if you have the letter E, and from top you would look at it and kind of like this is all metal around. So from the top you would see this. So if you look from this side, this is how the letter E would look if this was a 3D side here. Right, that would be the side view. So it would be laying on here. Now inside, imagine that this here goes down and actually you would see inside of this piece. So kind of like the metal ring would go around it, but this filling here is not all the way full. So this is why it has like a little piece inside of it. This is what I'm trying to draw in here that looks kind of like it's going inside without actually going inside. Does that make sense? Like it's not all the way filled up. So this is why I'm adding this here. Kind of like now here you would place like light bulbs. Like if you think of those neon signs in Las Vegas, like if you would add, I don't know, if you'd add like light bulbs in here. Kind of like this. So you'd have like light bulbs all around, kind of like here. And they would have all these mesh in here, and so on. So this is kind of like if you would add light bulbs inside. Does that make sense? Like a hollow effect. Yeah, kind of exactly like a hollow effect. Connie, you got it. I'm not sure if I'm adding the right amount of light bulbs. Apparently not everywhere the same. So that's kind of what I was going for, the light bulb effect. And again, here on paper, it's a lot harder to kind of like to make this effect really effective. Make this effect effective. That could work. A lot of time and a lot of heart, you can make anything you want. And so on and so forth. Adding some light bulbs everywhere. And then to finally make it really stand out, like you can definitely add some more contrast to these lines here. Add some kind of like it would go behind and in front. Stuff like that, just to make it more believable. But like I said, to finally make it really stand out, to kind of like have it hold, you could either make like a shadow on the ground, like this, kind of like it's floating. You could have like some pieces that make it looks like it's hanging up or something. But there are a ton of ways that you could actually do stuff to make it stand out. What I want to try, and we'll see if I can nail that, is just to give it like a contour. So just giving it a little space. And then filling this out as we go on.
Have to be your biggest fan. And when things are really tough and they're really rough and nothing's working, but there's something inside of you that says, I just have to follow that. Because you don't know who you
Kind of like this. There we go. And a signature to sign it up. So this one is for Bettina, one of my Patreons. Check this out. Boom, here we go. So we made this here using the warp technique, how to warp any text, kind of using this warp technique of bending all of these lines one after the other. Where is the rest of my, so twisted letters. This is what it's all about, how to twist those letters. And I had a lot of fun. Like, we used kind of this technique here to visualize it and then to redraw it, and then this is what we ended up with. Kind of like went overboard, of course. Again, it's pretty much what I do often enough. I'm having problem with P. Do I have to completely fill it in or what? So let's see. So probably P, pratik, it's your first letter. So if you guys have any questions, this is the time to ask them. I'll be answering them right away. We'll also go through a couple of Instagram things to see what questions people ask on Instagram. Let's see, let me add the top-down shot. So if you have a P, then this is kind of like the beginning, right? So your P, you divide this kind of like in 3, and then here up in more like 6 parts. And what I would usually do is actually I'll touch the last parts here, kind of like this. So now to finalize it for you guys to see this a lot better, the P goes in here. Here is that rounded part. And here it ends like this. Now, how do you fill this out? How do you do that? So again, this will kind of come back here. Here would be probably the R from pratik, right? That's coming up next. And then you'll have the lines, like it always will go down kind of like this. And then you connect these lines and go back, and here's like the next letter that will come down. And this is the part that you will fill out. Kind of like this. That will be for the P. Does that make sense, Pratik? I hope so. Who else? We have super cool. I'm confused how to make rounded script letters. Okay, so this exercise here with script letters, boom, this is absolutely insane. This is next level. This would be probably like the advanced over advanced topic. I'm not sure if I can explain this right now. Really hard. Middle letter M. So Jasmine is asking about the M. So if I am having this here, the M is actually a great middle letter to have because it would be down over here, right? It would be straight pretty much. Kind of like this. And because it's kind of going into the middle, everything here would be pretty much centered. You can kind of have like all these elements drawing inside. So it's kind of like having an M. And if you follow the last post, the last video we did on the 3D lettering, kind of like the 1 point perspective is like everything goes into the middle. And so that's where it would point like everything else in. And so you have everything in the middle back there. So it's kind of like the middle letter, how to use the 3D and the extrusion on there. It's always kind of the toughest. You'll see this here on the eye. It's a little bit messy. But since it's like warping, like this will go back here, this will go back there. It's not perfect. I won't say it is because it's just not. Not even on here on this twisted. This is why the twisted is actually great because the S kind of like like absorbs all the other parts and just goes all the way back here. And I just filled it out. You pretty much won't notice it at all. What I also did here is I kind of like attached, as you will see over here, I attached pretty much all the lower letters at the bottom and the top letters there, and it kind of like made it swish here, swish there, so on. That's it. What else do we have? We have Pratik, thank you. So welcome, middle letter M. We did that. How do you actually study lettering and create a lot of styles? So this is one part of something that I teach, the art of lettering. So this is the Ultimate Lettering Workshop. This is one of my workshops that I do. You can see that here. It's basically in this first one, the Building Letters 101 workshop. And we go into how to create all of these different styles, how to come up with the A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, A, K, L, M, N, O, P, and so on, and how to do that. Basically, what I would always say is like you start off with inspiration. You do like, this is my creative process. This is how I always do something, is I start off with one, inspiration. I get inspired by like getting a lot of different styles in my head, like what I want, what I like, get stuff on Pinterest and really absorb that. Number two is then to start dissecting it, understanding how these letters work and how that actually comes together in some way or the other. And then number three is to recreating some pieces. So if I see a style that I really like, that I feel like, boom, this is amazing, then I will copy that and I'll try to understand that. Kind of like I did here with this lettering. Like I understood this and I understood kind of like how this works, but until I saw that these letters here, those lines are integral, like I started dissecting this. Kind of like you would take apart a computer or a TV or something when it's not working. You want to make the most out of that. Krizia said that it was a great workshop. Thank you so much. It looks amazing. That 3D tutorial is awesome. Thank you so much again. I wish I could do it, but I'm in the USA. Well, I was in the USA not too long ago, so again, pretty amazing time. We're gonna be back and doing more workshops again as well. So don't worry about all of these things. We are gonna have a great time. Like, it's gonna pick up again. It's gonna be awesome. Jonathan Jenkins is asking, are you going to do the iPad Lettering Bootcamp webinar? So will it be a live one? Yes. So because of the whole madness of the whole situation with the quarantine zones and quarantine and all that stuff, I am trying to do what I can to kind of like help you guys out, because this time is an unprecedented time where you guys have more time than ever to be at home, to learn new stuff, and especially going in like, how can we make the most out of this time? And this is why I'm really excited about that, and I really want to make the most for you guys. So I'm gonna be back here tomorrow with another live stream, because we're gonna do more stuff. We're gonna try out different ways. I'm hopefully gonna be doing some teaching, some different stuff, and yeah, can't wait to see where this all goes, how we can create something awesome today. You explained this in such a way it's easy to understand. Thank you. Wei Wern Lim, thank you so much. This actually means a lot to me. Thank you guys. Lourdes asking, can you do a lettering online workshop, please? So yes, guys, we are working. I have a team of 2 people that are helping me out with this. I am extremely overwhelmed with all these awesome questions you guys are asking. So yes, please, we are gonna send out a newsletter email with all the information. We are gonna keep you guys updated on all of this. And yes, so don't forget, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Like this video, help spread the word around. Like, if you know somebody who wanted to learn about all these twisted letters, then let them know. And tomorrow, again, around the same time, 2 o'clock in the afternoon for me. I have no idea what time that is. It's probably like 14/8. Again, I'm lost. Something in the early morning in the US, late evening in Asia. It's gonna be amazing. We're gonna have some fun. We're gonna create something. Let me know on Instagram or here in the comments what you want to see, what you want to be doing next. Is it on the iPad? Is it something special? We're just gonna have some fun. We're gonna be diving into some awesome topics, have some coffee, draw something, and yeah, it's gonna be awesome. Don't forget to create something today. Finish your piece of work, share it with me on Instagram, tag me in your post. I'd love to see that, and I can't wait to hopefully very well see you soon. All right, see you guys. Have an awesome Wednesday.